Mr. Chief Justice,
The senator from Montana.
I send a question to the desk on behalf of myself and Senators Lankford and Senator Hawley.
Thank you. Excuse me. The question from Senator Daines, Lankford, and Hawley is for counsel for the President. Over the past 244 years, 8 judges have been removed from office by the U.S. Senate, but never a president. The 8 judges have been removed for bribery, perjury, tax evasion, waging war against the United States, and other unlawful actions. How do the current impeachment articles differ from previous convictions and removals by the Senate?
There's an enormous difference between impeaching and removing a judge, even a justice, and impeaching and removing a president. No judge, not even the Chief Justice, is the judicial branch. You are the head of the judicial branch, but there is a judicial branch. The president is the executive branch. He is irreplaceable. There isn't always a vice president. Remember, we had a period of time when there was no vice president. We needed a constitutional amendment. So there's no comparison between impeaching a judge and impeaching a president. Moreover, there's a textual difference. The Constitution provides that judges serve during good behavior. That's the Congressman Schiff standard. And it's a great standard. We wish everybody served only during good behavior. But the Constitution doesn't say that the president shall serve during good behavior. The big difference is the president runs every 4 years. And the public gets to judge his good behavior. Judges don't run. And so there's only one judge of the good behavior, namely the impeachment process. And so to make a comparison is to make the same mistake that when people compare the British system to the American system. We've heard a lot of argument that we adopted the British system by adopting 5 words: anti-crimes, other crimes, and misdemeanors. Yeah, those words may have been borrowed from Great Britain, but the whole concept of impeachment was not. First of all, impeachment no longer exists in Great Britain, but when it did, it only operated for low-level and middle-level people. All the impeachment trials that have been cited involve this guy in India, this guy in the commerce, this guy here, this guy there, utterly replaceable people. The British system, on the other hand, you can get rid of the head of state, the head of government, rather, by a simple vote of no confidence. That's what the framers rejected. The framers rejected that for a president. And so the notion that we borrowed the British system has it exactly backwards. We rejected the British system. We did not want the president to serve at the pleasure of the legislature. We wanted the president to serve at the pleasure of the voters. Judges don't serve at the pleasure of the voters, so there needs to be different criteria and broader criteria. And those criteria have been used in practice. For the most part, judges have been impeached for criminal and removed for criminal behavior. But take an example that was given. If a judge is completely drunk and incapacitated and cannot do his job, it's easy to imagine how a judge might have to be removed for that. But the president, there's an amendment to the Constitution, the 25th Amendment, specifically providing, because there was a gap in the Constitution. And please, members of the Senate, it's important to understand your role is not to fill gaps that the framers deliberately left open. Good arguments have been made why it's important to make sure people don't abuse their power, people don't commit maladministration. But the framers left those gaps. Your job is not to fill in the gaps. Your job is to apply the Constitution as the framers wrote it, and that doesn't include abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.